Millions of federal workers are waking up to renewed pressure this morning. Elon Musk ordered them late Saturday to describe the top 5 things they accomplished last week or risk losing their jobs. That demand was issued formally in an email yesterday from the Office of Personnel Management. But top leaders in agencies such as the FBI and the State Department have instructed their staff to avoid responding for now. Just a day earlier, the Trump staff shakeup hit the Pentagon with the ouster of the nation's highest-ranking military officer, General C.Q. Brown, and other senior leaders at the Navy, Army, and Air Force. For more on that impact of the shakeup, we begin this morning with our senior national security correspondent, Charlie D'Agata. Charlie, so it's the president's prerogative to choose his advisors. Sure. But what's the impact of firing his top advisor, and when will we get a new one?
Well, Margaret, you first of all have to look at what's going on at the moment, right? What's the immediate impact? This position as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is in charge, as it sounds, of everybody and planning forward. We have the crisis in the Middle East that's still unfolding. We've got the crisis at the border where more and more active duty troops are being sent to. Guantanamo is getting built up. And then you've got Ukraine and the future of NATO. So this comes at a critical time, and the dismissal of C.Q. Brown will have immediate ramifications. In terms of how long it's going to take to replace that, well, there will be a sort of Senate hearing. A person has already been put forward, as we're about to speak about. But in addition to that, the other top head to come out of that was Admiral Lisa Franchetti, so CNO, Chief Naval Officer, in charge of the Navy. That's a big one.
Highest-ranking woman.
The highest-ranking woman, and unprecedented in that role. And she was the first to become a fleet commander. There are many firsts in Admiral Franchetti's career, and we've profiled her when she became a fleet commander. Very highly thought of among among personnel at the DOD, including young women who aspire to those sort of levels. C.Q. Brown, again, very highly regarded. There was no reason given for the dismissal of these two individuals. We do know that Secretary Hegseth has actually name-checked C.Q. Brown as saying that he's criticizing him for his DEI programs and saying that was he given that promotion because he was black? He says we'll never know. He also took aim at Admiral Franchetti, suggesting she is a DEI hire herself by virtue of the fact that she is a woman. Also, in addition to that, there's the second in command of the Air Force who was also removed. So a lot of changes, and you mentioned the word purge, and that's exactly what it is from the very top.
Well, who is this nominee, or I guess in the process of becoming the nominee to step into the role?
It's a good question, and there are a lot of people inside the DOD who are asking who this nominee is. Retired Lieutenant General Dan Kane. He just retired recently. He's a 3-star rank. That's kind of important because this is the first time, at least in my knowledge, I might be corrected, the first time a 3-star general was promoted to that position. Kind of
not ahead of a combatant command.
Exactly, not ahead of a combatant command like CENTCOM or EUCOM, not in charge of one of the armed services branches. Well, yes, some might call it a leapfrog. If he is to be accepted into this role, he will automatically be given that 4th star. But more importantly, there are certain rules and regulations that he would have been the first because he didn't have that combatant command and because he wasn't in charge of one of the armed forces. But from, we've been asking around, and I know people who know him personally, they say, look, he's a stand-up guy, nicest man you want to meet. There had been some questions about whether or not he was sort of political. I know that President Trump had said that he had met the guy and said that he loves him, as in he loves Trump. According to my sources, that conversation didn't take place. He doesn't own a MAGA cap. He didn't put one on. So he's been described as apolitical. And he's somebody who may not have the experience, but has the character to lead the force. But I think what we have to look at here, right? We get Defense Secretary Hegseth, and then we have this individual, two relatively inexperienced people at the very highest level of the DOD.
At a time of global instability and a lot of change here at home. Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.